We probably should get going, huh?
Oh, share to my story.
There you go. That's good enough.
Apparently so.
All right.
Alrighty.
So today's theme, which we're avoiding already, is showing up. Well, just the tech stuff. We're not right ready to show up.
No, definitely we weren't ready to show up.
And I think that's the thing. It's like, so we, both of us are like, I don't really want to do it today. Like, I'm not feeling it. And Susan, my wife, Susan, she's like, you guys gotta show up because that's grit. And I think what we're doing is we're going through that phase of we're creating something new and it's exciting to begin with, and then we kind of lose some of that energy. But that's like that beginner's thing when you go learn a new thing, like go learning tennis or something. It's like really struggling, and then you're excited at the beginning, but then kind of like it starts to get harder, and then you kind of give up. And I think so we're moving through that energy to create this new endeavor. Like, so it's,
yeah, I mean, for me, when I spoke to Phil earlier, for me, this morning I get hay fever, right, in June, hay fever season for me, and sometimes it's really unpleasant. And it got to the point where, when Phil spoke to me earlier and he said, Phil, I haven't got a title for the show, and I was like, well, do you know what? Actually, I don't know how good I'm going to be showing up for this little show we've got going on. So maybe we can give it a miss, because at the time when I spoke to Phil about 5 o'clock, I think it was 5 o'clock UK time, so 2 hours ago, I was sneezing every minute. I was sneezing, and I had sinus. It's still there. It's still quite painful actually, going all the way up the side and over my eye. And I never really get sinusitis, but up and over my eye, and it's really sore, and I kind of got a bit of a headache. So yeah, for me there was actually a lot going on, and then Susan said, look, it's grit, just show up with your handkerchief, just show up. So there we go, we're being raw and real.
Which is what we are. We're not all polished and shiny. We're just two guys hanging out. And then I'm asking the question, I'm like, so what is hay fever? It's like a lot of time we blame pollen. Is it pollen's fault? Like that we're having these reactions? Like, pollen's been around for a long time. I mean, we've evolved with pollen. We've been on the planet with pollen. So why are we blaming pollen? And to me, I don't know the answer, but to me, there's got to be a deeper reason why we're reacting to things that are natural in the environment, and it doesn't really make sense to me. It's like, well, that's just natural. Why are we reacting to that?
It's interesting, Phil, because depending on whose thought, Lou Corona, a friend of mine, he says any allergy is due to a deficiency of amylase, an amylase enzyme. So amylase is the one that deals with that kind of, so if you have any kind of allergic reaction, his thing is amylase. So and we're all deficient in everything. So that that's highly likely. And then if we go deeper into the emotional level, I'm not quite sure what Louise Hay I forgot. I have looked into it all now, but I've forgotten over the years. Louise Hay, there's an emotional component to it. Obviously, do you know what I mean? Well, I say obviously. Excuse me, I don't mean obviously. So in my world, and I know with Phil, with our world, there's always an emotional, spiritual link to all of our illnesses. So, so everything really that we're dealing with, that's a physical ailment, is a manifestation because we haven't dealt with it in the emotional or spiritual realm. So it just gets kind of, well, basically it gets cruder and cruder and cruder until either we die or we listen. And I know that I can speak for myself, and I think I can speak for Phil, is both of us are doing our best to deal with the issues before we die. before they actually kill us, right?
It's not morbid. Let's figure it out before we die.
Yeah, well, yeah. Otherwise, we come back and do it all again.
But just like on the physical level, I do want to come back to the pollution. I'm just like, we've put this label on it that it's the pollen, but it's like, a lot of these times it's like there's so much pollution in our air and environment with chemicals in the air and just like pollutants coming from car fumes and brake pad material coming off. Like we're breathing all of that in, and it's like they're just irritants to our body. And I think like the pollen is just like the final straw in that. And it's just like I think our body's so clogged up and so it's like it's another thing that just gets added to the pile, and it's just like I can't deal with that, kind of thing. So
yeah, I definitely agree with you, Phil, on that one. With I said to you earlier when we had that brief conversation was that, I said to my mum years ago, so I think this is pollution fever, because if I'm in town, it's horrendous.
mm-hmm.
So when saying that, I mean, it depends. If I'm in a grass field, it's shocking. But if I go into town, as soon as a bus kind of pulls away, that's me set off sneezing.
Right.
So I get super sensitive to any kind of strong smell. But then saying that, Phil,
what it is with chemical sensitivity is we talk about that, and it's just like it's not necessarily that person's, well, they are chemically sensitive, but it's just like their body is so loaded with pollutants and toxins and all sorts of stuff, and it's just like it's overwhelmed. So anything is a trigger then, and because our bodies are inefficient with detoxifying and cleansing out, and it's like that's the work is cleansing and detoxifying.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you just basically, Phil, you just said exactly what was the next thing that I was going to say. I was just about to say, actually, it's levels of toxicity. When I was seeing a friend of mine, and he couldn't figure out what to do with me around it all, we went and had some testing done, and he found two really powerful chemicals in my body. One was lindane. I don't know if you know lindane. Lindane.
Like a pesticide or something.
Yeah, it's a pesticide. Basically, it was used in lice shampoo. When we were kids in England, Phil, they used lindane for lice treatments.
Wow.
And it turns out that that when I was a little kid and we moved to the house, we had woodworm treatment done, and it turns out that they used lindane, and we weren't supposed to come in the house for like I don't know how many weeks or months after they sprayed it. And I know we came in early, and everything smelt and tasted of this chemical. Well, of course, if my dad would have had any clue as to what they sprayed it with, of course we wouldn't have moved in. Do you know what I mean? We would have waited the full time. Mm-hmm. And then I
have a friend who he had this house in Chicago, I think, and Chicago, and he had a flea issue, and the fleas were biting him, so he decided to get the house fogged, right? The whole house. Man. And then that was like the final point for his body, and it started to shut down, and he started to have reactions to everything because he went into the house shortly after the fogging, and it was just the final straw, and his body's just like it couldn't handle it. It was just too much.
Yeah. Right. And this is and as I started to research, it's like, where do I get lindane from? So I said to my dad, and he said, oh yeah, I used to sprinkle it on the carrots when you were kids in the garden. And then it turns out that when we used to use the flea powder on the dogs when I was a kid, because my granddad had lots of dogs when I was a kid because he was a gamekeeper, and we'd all get out with me and my granddad and my sister. We'd get out there when we were kids, and we'd get hold of the dogs and we'd rub this stuff in, and of course the dogs would shake and there'd be this great big cloud of white dust, and we'd all be breathing it in because we'd have no clue about it, and it turns out that was lindane.
Yeah.
And then when I was an apprentice carpenter, and we used to go down our local sawmills and pick up tannalized treated. So tannalized in England is a wood treatment. Mm-hmm. And we'd get it they'd pull it out the vat and stick it on the trailer. We'd take it to the job. When we were pulling it off, I remember that it would be dripping off of my elbows. And it turns out that was lindane too.
Wow.
So the fact that it was intracellular in all through my body, actually is no surprise. But of course, with chemicals like that, when you're already toxically compromised, the body just doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
So, you know, and it's not until we get to a, you know, a certain level of detoxification can our body then start to deal with the real stuff.
Right. And the body can handle it. The body's freaking amazing that we can handle all of this stuff to a certain level, but the bombardment from so many levels. I mean, there's still DDT found in people's blood, and like in this, you know, in the Western, it's still probably used in some parts of the world, but in, you know, in England and America, it's not used. But like they were doing mass fogging of people, and it's just like that stuff caused problems.
Yeah, I think, Phil, when I was researching about Thailand, I think in Thailand, in parts of Thailand, they use DDT still. And I think in Africa they use it, because it was, I think, wasn't it banned in the 70s in England?
I'm not sure the date. Yeah. And it's like we've known about this stuff for so long. There was Rachel Carson, was it 1968 or something? She wrote the book Silent Spring, and she was talking about the Love Canal, which is that canal in near Niagara, that was like basically where all of these chemicals were put. And then I think it was like a children's school put in a certain area, and then they all started getting sick. It's like we've known this for so long, and yet like it's still not talked about. Like I watched some here, like there's weeds, and they just spray, like mass spraying with weed killer. And like now we know that like Roundup causes cancer. Like people have now filed lawsuits, but still it's sprayed every day en masse by the government, by, you know, and it's just like this. I just see these people like spraying this stuff, no mask, nothing, just like hosing down like the sidewalks, hosing down the air, just to kill a couple of weeds. And it's crazy. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, Phil, that leads on nicely actually to the whole organic versus mainstream agriculture. I won't go into it deeply. I'll just touch on it. You know, and people were saying about you know, why is organic so expensive compared to standard farming and vegetables? You know, why is it so expensive? So I started looking into it, and what I found out was, if in England they get lots of subsidies. So, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was talking to a guy that doesn't live very far from me, and he was saying basically for every 1,000 acres you get £100,000 grant.
Wow.
And with organic farming, you get a 0 grant.
Wow.
And then with organic farming, everything has to be registered, and each registration costs something like £750 a register. Everything has to be traced, everything has to be logged, and of course all that costs money. So what I would suggest is that organic food is actually the price of food, and normal food, so to speak, non-organic food, is actually it's an untrue cost.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and is it the real cost, or is it? I
Wow.
mean, yes, it is on some level, but it's not, because like they've had to pay for all these certifications and all the documentation, and and they're not getting the subsidies. So is it the real cost? I don't know. We're not seeing the real cost of you know, of chemicalized food, but that's for sure. I mean, in America, it's like the corn, the soy, the wheat, they're all subsidized massively, you know, so we can get cheap corn sugar, high fructose corn syrup, etc., into the supply chain, and it's really expensive to the environment.
Yeah,
But the
wow.
truth is, here at the facility here, I was looking, we were getting weeds, and the landlord was like, "Got to get rid of those weeds. I need to spray." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute." So basically, I found just like a really strong vinegar. It's just a weed killer. It's just vinegar, a very strong vinegar, and it kills the weeds.
Oh
So,
wow.
like, not damaging the environment. It's just vinegar, and it's just the acid. It's the acid kill. You spray it on the weeds, and you're done. No polluting the environment, just vinegar. You know.
Wow. So the other
There's so many solutions that are really simple that we can make it work. It's just
yeah, absolutely, Phil. So the thing with the farming that I was going to say, right, is so the amazing thing is, right, to try and get your head around, when you're organic and everything's natural, everything has to be logged. Everything has to be logged. But my understanding is with conventional farming, you can spray glyphosate, Roundup, wherever you like, whenever you like, and it doesn't have to be logged or registered.
Right.
That's crazy.
So
if you
it should be the opposite.
yeah, right. If you've got something that's normal and natural and God-given, you have to register it.
Right.
But if you want to spray highly toxic, carcinogenic pesticides, herbicides, whatever asides, we'll pay you to do it. That's perfect. I think actually Gabriel put a quote on a while ago about from out of the Quran. You might remember it, Phil. I can't remember. It's in the Bible as well. I can't remember what it was, but it was basically about a prophecy, and it was talking about the time will come when everything will be upside down, and the righteous will be wrong and the wrong will be righteous, and evil will be good and the good will be evil. And hello,
we're seeing so everywhere, everything is reversed right now, and
it's all reverse engineered.
People are sucked into it, you know, like it's just, and it's sad because it's like, oh look, the Green New Deal, that sounds really cool, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. We've had oh look at we need peacekeepers, and it's like, well, no, you know, all these things, like the reversal of consciousness, and it's just
yeah. And even now in you know, if you think of our language, which is, you know, just simply like the word wicked, everyone says, God, that's wicked, man. And now the new word is that it's sick, and apparently that means it's really good. So it's just,
well, the reversal of live, we know live or live is evil.
Yeah, it's evil, yeah.
Or lived, devil, right?
Yeah. So, you know, it's and I read that which Gabriel sent, and I was like, wow, man, we are right in that now.
Right.
We're right in that reversal where the righteous will be wrong and the wrong will be righteous. Just like now, Phil, if you look into our world, people like us that are really looking at health and doing our best to detoxify ourselves and help detoxify our environment and the planet and our friends, we're the ones that are wrong. We're the ones that are weird.
Right.
And yet the ones that
articles coming out, juicing is bad for you.
Oh, it's hilarious, isn't it?
You're like, what? Like, who is saying this stuff? It doesn't even make. And what's the thing? Like, was it New York Times or something? Like, vitamin C unproven. What? Like, okay. And why aren't you calling out the side effects of all the drugs that are killing people? Like, come on.
Yeah, I think David Icke did a great one on that, on side effects. Did you see the David Icke one where he was talking about drugs and side effects?
No.
He said, come on, guys, they're not side effects, they're bloody effects.
Thanks.
He said, this is what they can do. They're not side effects, they are effects of a drug on some people. And I just thought, good old David, that was a classic because it's so obvious. We all look at them as side effects, and it's like, how can they? So if you hit your finger with a hammer, right, the side effect is bloody pain. No, the effect is pain.
Exactly.
It's crazy, Phil.
Right.
We started off with the right little rant tonight, haven't we?
We're on a rant. Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe it should be the Phil and Phil rant.
Well, that's good. We get on our boxes. So, you know, both of us, we really work hard to stay positive. And it's like and somebody was asking me that. It's kind of crazy. I got asked to do like a positive thing, and I'm just like, God, it really is hard to stay positive in this world, but we do pretty good. Like, and I have my down days for sure. And I'm just like looking at the world and going, it's just madness. And just thinking, like, making the connections with like all of the violence and the energy that's going on. I'm like, I get upset about it, but then I remember, I'm just like, wow, what is contributed to this? It's like a lot of kids are now on psychiatric drugs. We got the craziness of violent video games, the more and more violent movies, the junk food, the chemicals in the water, the fluoride in the water. It's like the accumulation of all those things. Like, no wonder people are freaking mad and going mad and like they can't stay positive. It's like we got to clean up. Like, and it's I don't want to, you know, it's like wow, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Just I'm flustered.
I remember Phil when I first started detoxing about 1999, and I'd done like, you know, I do a little week and I do juice or whatever I do. And then I was living with a friend of mine and I was talking about, you know, eating clean. And she's like, but Phil, you've done like a week or 2 week fasts. You know, you've done the detoxification. What do you expect to achieve? 20 years on, right? 21 years on, I'm now understanding about detoxification. And, you know, and unless we get our detoxification system working well, which is basically our adrenals and kidneys to get the kidneys filtering the lymphatic fluid properly, and then get the lymph moving.
It's just a great analogy came off there for that. It's just like, well, you did a cleanse. You should be good. Well, it's like, well, so with your car, you only changed the filter once? Like, that's it. I changed the filter. When did you do that? 3 years ago? Oh, well, that's why your car's not working. It's like, well, constantly you change the oil every month and you probably change the filters, and every 3 months you do this for the car. And like, it's a continual work in progress. And like we've been talking about in past weeks, is like we're constantly tuning the body, and it's like you look for the signals. Like if your car, a light comes on, it says, you know, there's a tire that's low. You're like, oh, I better check this tire and see if there's a nail in it. You know, it's like we ignore those. We get signs like whether it's we're tired or we're aching somewhere, or you know, it's hay fever symptoms. It's like there's all these signs and warnings constantly flashing, but we're like, oh, let's just mask it with a drug. We're going back to the drugs again. We're just going to mask it and ignore that. Let's cover up the check engine light on the car. Like we're constantly be given messages and warnings, but it's like, no, we got to show up at work 5 days a week. We're going to push through, and we're going to ignore those messages. And they're coming all the time. The signs are telling us, hey, this is a wake up call. Oh, I'm going to ignore it right now. And then people go, well, I just suddenly got cancer. It's like, well, did you have any warning signs? No, I was, you know, oh, well, you know, I had this, and I was like, you know, you probably could dig in and go, well, you did have warning signs. It didn't just suddenly appear as cancer out of nowhere. You probably ignored your body.
Yeah.
It's like, if you ignore your car, eventually it'll seize up and the engine will die. So.
But isn't it amazing though, Phil, now we have to use detoxification parables with a bloody car.
I know, it's crazy. We take better care of our cars than our bodies.
You know, if someone bought, I'm going to use the analogy of a Ferrari because everyone knows what a Ferrari is. But if someone bought a Ferrari and said, right, there's this really good fuel and it'll help your car and it'll help it run, it'll help it last longer, you'll get better performance, better fuel economy, you have to go to the garage less, your bills will be less, and the car will sound beautiful and it'll go like a rocket, but it's £2 a gallon. They'll be like, man, you know, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to have that. Or there's this shit cheap fuel that poisons your car, clogs your filters, clogs up your GCR valve, wears out the pistons, and within 10 years, your car's going to be worthless. Oh, yeah, we'll do that. Let's have the 99p fuel. So my car dies. And then 10 years later, they'll go, can't understand what happened to my car.
Just stop working.
It's broken. All of a sudden, I fed it shit fuel, shit oil, haven't changed the filters for 10 years, and all of a sudden, it's died. It's crap. It's let me down. Come on, guys.
We're such on a soapbox.
You what, Phil?
We're on a soapbox today.
We're right on our boxes tonight. Well, it's about time we got on our boxes, really.
That's good.
Detox, detox, detox. And when you think you've detoxed enough, then it's time to detox some more.
So, like, let's talk about detox a little bit. What is detox? What are the detox channels, and like, how do we do that?
Wow, yeah. So yeah, let's do it, Phil. So, I mean, one of the things we and you both know about, of course, is juice, because we've done lorry loads, swimming pools of juice over the years, I should think. So yeah, so let's think about it, Phil. What are our channels of detoxification? Well, one of the big channels for me, which is what I've been working on and learning about, is the kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And kidneys are a great channel for the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system dumps into the kidneys, and
What is the lymphatic system then?
Sorry, Phil?
What is the lymphatic system?
The lymphatic system is basically like the blood system, but it's 3 times as big as the blood system. There's 3 times as many lymph vessels as there is blood vessels. No one talks about it, do they?
No.
No, talks about the lymphatic system. And then recently, Phil, they've said, we found a new lymphatic system in the head called the glymph. Well, they didn't call it that. They said, we found a new system in the head called the glymph system. It's a lymphatic system that runs around the head. They didn't know it was there. Recent discovery. So the fact that you've got
about the body, so it's in the head, it's all through the body. It's in this, like, it's kind of pronounced in sensitive parts, right? Or is it just everywhere?
Well, then you've got lymph nodes.
Nodes. Okay.
So for instance, here, quite often, if you feel in here, you get tender just beneath the collarbones. There's like little indentations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you get lymph nodes. You get lymph nodes in here and in your armpits. And of course, breasts are probably the biggest area of lymph.
Right.
So that's the reason why women particularly get breast issues. It's my understanding is basically it's congested lymph in the breast, because the lymph isn't able to move. So whereas the blood system has the heart that moves the blood, maybe.
So the breast, like, that's like, so some people theorize that when women wear very tight bras or wired bras, it constricts that lymphatic, so it can't drain, and that, over time, that's that thing where it's like, oh well, I just, wearing that's fine, but it's like, if you're wearing that day in, day out, eventually, that lymph is not going to drain if you're wearing that very tight piece of clothing every day. So
also, Phil, with that, with the Crush Your Heart bra that they have with the underwire bra, and is it actually connects the left and right hemisphere of the body together, and it confuses it. So especially if you're around Wi-Fi, it acts as an antenna for the Wi-Fi in the body. So actually, any metal on the body is not a good plan. So
carry on.
Are we getting comments?
I didn't even notice they were, but yeah, we got Kimberly. She's talking about, like, we were talking about the toxins. Yes, toxins are everywhere. I'm sure I have lots. I've been dealing with neuropathy for 30 years. I think it's really heavy metals due to beef vaccines, Lyme. Lindane, also known as gamma heterochloroquine. I'm like, okay. Sometimes incorrectly called benzene hexachloride, is an organochlorine chemical. Wow, this lady's basically used as an organic agriculture insecticide and as a pharmaceutical treatment for lice and scabies.
Yeah.
So,
is that on Facebook, Phil?
Yeah.
Is that on your Facebook?
Yeah, it's on my Facebook.
Cool. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, so then also, so the main difference with the blood system, which we all know about, is the blood system carries the nutrients, right, and it dumps the toxins into the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is basically our sewer system. So when the sewer system's full up, what happens?
It drains to the digestive system, right?
Start again, Phil.
That drains into the digestive system. Is that correct?
What, the lymph?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, the lymph can be pulled out of the skin. It can go out of the kidneys and out through the bowel.
Okay.
But the main one, as far as I'm aware, from the learning I've done in recent years, is it's coming out through the kidneys. This is I don't know. Do you know Dr. Robert Morse's work, Phil?
A little bit, just from what you told me. So.
He's so in his whole focus, really. And I'm not going to say his whole focus, but his main focus is the lymphatic system. And I've never heard anybody, or all the people I've studied or trained with, no one's really talked, because in all the years that I was with Gabriel, following Gabriel and reading his books and being at the Tree of Life, I never really heard Gabriel talk much about the lymphatic system.
Well, it's in his, yeah, he didn't talk about it, but definitely, obviously, he's aware of it. And, one of his big things, like yours, is rebounding,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
and so because, as we know, the lymphatic system, it doesn't have its own, any pump. It works by movement. So again, that connects into our sedentary world where we're sitting down all the time, not moving so much. The lymph needs movement. It needs rebounding. It needs walking. It needs gentle movement continually so that it pumps. It naturally moves through the body. That movement is what makes the lymphatic system work. That's correct, right, Phil?
Yeah. So the interesting thing there, Phil, is with walking and rebounding, right? This was a little fact I found out, and this will blow your mind, right? 1 minute of rebounding gives you the equivalent lymphatic movement of an hour of walking.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I've told you that, and I've just got goosebumps, man. Yeah, it's just like it is. So Lou Corona reckons that it takes 10 minutes to warm up the lymphatic system when you're rebounding. So that's 10 hours of walking to warm up your lymphatic system, and then he reckons another 10 minutes to get it actually then moving.
Right. And it's another one of these freaking simple solutions that's been around for, like, I don't know, NASA were investigating rebounding 20 something years, 20, 30 years ago, right?
Oh, they've got to be, Phil, because I was at the tree 15 years ago and Gabriel was big into it.
For increasing bone density. So like all of these solutions are like, what's that one? Hidden in plain sight. Like,
yeah,
there's
right.
good stuff and it's right in front of us. And maybe that's why we're doing this show, is like the messages are all around us. The signs are all around us. Like, it's just like, it's right here. Everything you need is right beneath your feet. Like, it's a good one, so.
Yes, right beneath our feet, right in front of our eyes, though.
Yeah.
And yet, when we talk about it, we're weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, guys, give us a break. Apart from anything else, give us a break. Like our show, tell your friends, and wake up and listen to this stuff, because actually it's real.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people know intuitively, but then we have these media articles like juicing doesn't do anything and vitamin C is bad for you, and
homeopathy doesn't work.
Fruits and vegetables, it doesn't matter. Like, where people are bombarded with that, so they hear that and they start to doubt themselves. So we have that inner wisdom that tells us, it's like, yeah, fruits and vegetables. I need to eat more fruits and vegetables. That wisdom, like, you can't take that out of anyone. I need to eat naturally. I need to eat healthily. You can't take that away. But then we're bombarded with these things that throw in doubt. And Gabriel Cousins said to me a long time ago, is like, doubt is the destroyer. Like, doubt can destroy your spiritual connection, because it just start getting that doubt. But because that wisdom's right inside. It's right there. We know what to do.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, Phil, when I meet friends or anything in a local supermarket, they all try and hide their basket. It's like,
I love that. I love that too. They're just like, I don't eat much of this stuff normally. It's like, well, why are you telling me? Like,
yeah.
What? Like, I didn't tell you not to eat that. Why are you telling me that I don't normally eat this way? And like, this is just a treat, or like, you don't need to justify to me, but they are, because there's part of them going, oh, I know I shouldn't be eating this way. Like, it's like, it just comes out. They can't help it. And I think we draw it out of them because we do eat healthily.
or the other one is, someone will walk past and go, wow, that's a healthy basket. And then my local town's Whitney, Phil, and I got friendly with one of the older people in there, and I was talking to him. Bless him, he had MS. He was really in a bad way with it. But eventually, after I'd been to see him, I used to kind of wait for his cue to go down so I could go and have a little chat with him. And one day I went through and I had loads of organic celery and cucumber, and well, I was with Kay, and we had our shopping basket full up with stuff. And he said, I think that must be the healthiest shopping basket in the whole of Whitney. But it just these little, you know, and he said, what are you doing with all that celery? I said, are we going to juice it? I said, you know, celery is amazing for your health. It's really, he said, I manage just fine on gin and tonic. And I was like, cool.
Who are we to judge? Enjoy your gin and tonic.
You know, enjoying your pain relief, man.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely that. It's like it numbs. Like I think people know that, and like that we do things to numb that feeling, you know. So
well, yeah, I mean, you just moved on to another bit of a subject, Phil, with that pain relief. When I have just, you know, as you know, I've just recently, about a month ago now, finished that 38-day juice fast. And that's what's come up for me now in myself and really observing other people is the pain is in search of pain relief. You should write a book, Phil, called In Search of Pain Relief. And actually,
in many ways we have pain relief.
Yeah, right. And you know, instead of juicing, rebounding, essential oils, which I saw you just do, going to bed early, barefoot walking in nature. Oh man, that got me.
Oh, that frankincense made you yawn, huh?
Yeah, I put frankincense on the soles of my feet every night when I go to bed, Phil.
That's cool. Yeah, me too.
So
like
actually,
little things that we do every day. It's like
so actually, there's lots of alternative stuff that we can do for pain relief. Mm-hmm. But you know, I find myself, if I've had one of the things is if I go out working as a builder, I then want a reward.
Right.
Do you know what?
Reward, right? And we think it's food.
And that reward isn't a bloody juice.
Right.
It's like a piece of, you know, my body then craves, well, my conditioning, because it's a reward. I didn't think I did rewards, but clearly I do. You know, if I've worked hard and I really see this stuff since I've done that fast, it's given me a totally new level of awareness. And, you know, and it's basically what I'm doing now. What I'm realizing is I'm going for pain relief. Because actually the building, even though it served me really well and I've loved it for all these years, I don't. It's become really clear. You know, if I have to do something and then get rewarded, clearly I'm not loving it.
Right.
Whereas when I was with my sister and I was helping her, she got into a bit of emotional stuff, and so I was doing some EFT and matrix re-imprinting and some shamanic work with her. Man, I just felt so uplifted. And it's like, okay, this is, you know, it's really interesting. I didn't need rewarding. It's really, and I didn't need pain relief for helping her. Right. So let's go back to the lymphatic system again, Phil, because it's amazing. So actually, Phil, we actually do have a pump in our body to work the lymphatic system. Did you know that?
No, you tell me about it.
It's the diaphragm.
Ah.
So that's why when we breathe down into our stomachs, it moves the diaphragm. So when most of us breathe from our diaphragms to our throats, right? So the diaphragm never gets to move. So I know with Gabriel, when he used to teach the breath work, and he would be getting us to get it right down in here. So when you take your breath right down into your stomach, that then is when it moves the diaphragm. So that's why they talk about diaphragmatic breathing, don't they? So when you do that deep diaphragmatic breathing, that's what moves the lymphatic system. So hot and cold showers move the lymphatic system. So things like if you have a sauna, I love saunas. If you get in a sauna and get in a cold shower and you keep doing sauna, shower, and you just keep doing it, it's great on a cold, frosty night when you've got a cold shower outside, and you can keep doing those too. So that moves the lymphatic system. Rebounding moves the lymphatic system. Skin brushing actually moves the lymphatic system. Do you know anything that moves it, Phil? Anything else?
Laughter. When we laugh, laughter, right? Like, and how good does laughing feel? When you're laughing, you just like your whole body like shakes and vibrates and tingles all over. It's like it's
yeah,
because it's creating, stimulating breathing. It's getting deep, deep diaphragm, and it's moving the whole body. So for sure, and then walking, of course.
Yeah, actually swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Swimming's another fantastic thing, but of course, if you're in a pool full of chlorine.
Not so
how can the you're taking toxins in while you're trying to move your lymphatic system. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So wild swimming, I guess, lake swimming, river swimming, sea swimming, or didn't Gabriel at the Tree of Life, didn't he have an ozonated swimming pool?
Yeah, there is a pool they use. It's a saltwater pool.
Is it a saltwater pool? Cool.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember what it was. So you've got that we have actually got lots of options. It's just we don't know about them.
Yeah, and I think there's this. It's almost like it's part of the crowd. So like there's this. I was just thinking like the other level. It's like there's this peer pressure that kind of appears like out there on social media and all that stuff. Not really fully reality, but then sometimes in our families it's like, oh, you're not eating the same way as us, like. And there's like this judgment. It's like, oh, well, I got to fit in. It's like, no, you just got to be your sovereign self. Just be your full expression. We don't need to bow down to anything. We just need to be ourselves. But there's this, but it's not, it's actually a positive trait of humans of wanting to fit in, wanting to be part of the herd, wanting to be part of the crowd. But that that positive trait can become a thing that's your demise. Whereas if you just be fully yourself, you be the leader, you be the inspiration, just live it, eat healthy, and then you're going to inspire others to do that. And then you create the new crowd, you create the new tribe, the new connection, the new community. And I know I've inspired my family, and my mom's on the call right now. She says she's watching, and
oh, brilliant!
She inspired me.
Pat.
I feel very blessed that she's inspired me to live healthy and to live strong, So, and I think we need to inspire each other. And it's like, because we get sucked into the system. There are times where it's like, I was like very stressed yesterday. So I was just feeling a little bit, sometimes I'm, feeling under the weather, and it's just like, or what am I trying to think of an example? When something happens, sometimes we default like, oh, I got to go to the doctor or something. There's something wrong with me. And it's just like, well, let's just stop for a minute and tune in. And I think we've got to help each other, because sometimes like we want to run to the doctor to fix us. We want to run to somebody outside to fix us. And it's talking about we have the answers within ourselves. And maybe that's the example. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? No? No idea. Who am I?
I think from the beginning to the end, there was a little bit. So
I was fluffing.
yeah, I think you were fluffing. So I think actually, Phil, what you were talking about then.
Maybe you can decipher me, okay?
Yeah. I'm just trying to come back to the beginning of the conversation, which you were talking about being your authentic sovereign self.
Right.
And then the human being need to fit in.
Right.
I think that's what you were saying. So the need to fit in on a level is quite healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really, and it's funny you brought this up because I was really feeling it today. I've got my old friends that I've been friends with forever. They had a little social distancing barbecue where there was like a couple of couples or something. I don't know, but I wasn't invited, and I really felt that. Mm-hmm. Not that I do get invited to those things because I don't want to go.
Right.
Because my sovereign self and my honesty is I don't want to hang out at a barbecue. I don't want to hang out while people are getting drunk. I don't like it.
Right.
However, though, those people are still my friends, and they've gathered. You know, so there's a part of me that was just like, yeah, I just felt it because I didn't get asked.
Right.
But you know, in reality, they know that if they asked me, I wouldn't go. So why would they bother asking me?
Right.
You know, they all drink and they all smoke, you know, and it's sat around a barbecue. But for me, there's still that yearning to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and that's a challenge. So, you know, I popped down to ask a question today. I can't remember what about something, and they just were talking about it, and I was like, But it's tough because my authentic self doesn't want to go. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because what am I going to talk to them about? They all sit there, they're smoking cigarettes, they're drinking beer, and they're eating burnt burgers.
So I think I saw a video the other day, and it was like, I think it's getting harder and harder to do this. Finding common ground with people, if possible, you know. But then there's also, you know, Gabriel says he has a new statement he's been saying, which is touch, don't blend. So it's like they're kind of contradicting a little bit. But if we can find common ground, let's find common ground with people. But if not, if we're gonna get sucked into something that's not in alignment with us, we gotta just not blend with that. It's just like, because it's gonna be basically, we're not honoring our sovereign self, we're not honoring our soul by, you know, accepting that, going, well, okay, I don't want to be part of this. So
and that's the difference, isn't it? You know, that there's that aspect of myself that felt left out and lonely and all the rest of it. And then there's my bigger self, my soul self. It's just like, well, I'm not judging these people for what they're doing. You know, that's, do you know what I mean? That's cool. But the reality is, if I went there and someone asked me something and I said what I wanted to say, which I did this afternoon, because we got into the whole, this thingy that we're in at the moment.
Yeah, Phil.
I didn't really want to say COVID-19 conversation we got into this afternoon.
Fine, just spit it out. Maybe we
And you know, and I was saying the reality of it, for not for everybody, but for the people that I know and where I live, it's non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was saying to them, so how many people do you know do you personally know that have actually had it? No, nobody. So how many people do you know that know someone that's actually died of it? Well, nobody. So I said, right, so how many people do you know have cancer? Well, everyone puts their hand up. How many people do you know have actually died of cancer? Everyone puts their hand up. And I said, well, don't you think you ought to be worrying about cancer then?
Right.
And they're like, I mean, but they're all worried about this thing that I'm not saying to you guys out there that it doesn't exist, but to my reality, how I'm living and where I'm living, it doesn't.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Whereas cancer is very, very, very real. Sorry, Phil. Magic call for a button. So,
and I think sometimes, like, you don't get invited because even though you don't say anything and you are not judging them, you are a threat. You are a threat to that lifestyle because they see you and they go, "Oh, Phil's gonna be talking about juicing again or something." It's like,
detox.
I don't want to change. I'm not going to change my lifestyle, you know. So
yeah, I think that over the years I've said far too much, far too often, and far too loudly. and fair play to them, they don't want to know.
Mhm.
You know, they don't want to know, and actually,
It's a major break of comfort zone. I think we all have that. We all like to really grow and evolve. We need to step outside the comfort zone, and not everyone's ready to do that. And I like what us showing up today, which is the theme of today's call. This is uncomfortable. We're like
oh,
we're showing up and we're doing something that's uncomfortable, and I think that really shows what grit, determination. We got to continually push ourselves, and then like the magic starts to happen, which it is today. I mean, it's really great connecting with you. I don't know if anybody's watching, but
well, there's no one watching on Zoom at the moment, but hey ho, because we get to do our thing, and the thing is, we get to stick this on YouTube, and anyone can watch it at any moment in time. So it is, for me, it's uncomfortable. You can all see I'm suffering with the hay fever. I'm not sneezing much at the moment, touch wood and all that. But yeah, I am suffering, but I think in this suffering there's a bit of passion coming out, because it's got us on quite a deep. It's got us both on quite a deep subject, Phil, hasn't it?
Right. I think we need to do a whole show on detox. That would be great. So.
I think we need to do a whole series of shows on detox. Because also though, Phil, I think what we need to talk about is the toxic, I was trying to figure out the words for it, but in a nutshell, the toxic load that is around us.
Mm-hmm.
And going back down to that, the weed killer and the vinegar, and coming back down to the painkillers. We can choose painkillers, so to speak, which might be, for me, with my diet, it's going to be something dense like nuts is going to be my painkiller. It is interesting, because when I eat junk food, people are like, God, that's really healthy food, Phil. Right? And it's my junk food. Mm-hmm. And I'm eating it because it's tasty, and it serves a purpose. Because the bottom line is, you can't really tell me that one of those fruit and nut bars, a raw fruit and nut bar, is actually going to hit the spot, as for nutrition or health, like a smoothie would, or a juice, or a salad, right?
Right.
So, and it certainly isn't gonna solve the hunger any better than a salad or an avocado or something. So therefore, you've got to look at it honestly and go, oh, so why am I eating this bar? And once in a while, and I was gonna say, once in a while it's a treat, but also, isn't it interesting that we choose to poison our children and loved ones on holidays and birthdays? Right.
Yeah.
How bizarre is that?
Bizarre.
It's like a friend of mine was saying about their son's birthday party, and the stuff they were having at their birthday party was unreal. And she said, but it's their birthday. And I said, so what makes it all right to poison them on their birthday?
What we need to do on kids' birthdays is go to the forest and put our feet on the earth and jump in the river. And
I tell you what, Phil, wouldn't they love that?
They would love it better. Like, yeah. You've seen pictures of kids on there, like when they're really young.
Yeah.
They're the cake, and the freaking kid is in shock. Like, there's like this giant cake there, and everybody's just surrounding them, and there's all these presents, and they're in shock.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is the opposite of a treat. That's like, what? Yeah, I mean, I want to stay positive, but it's an indoctrination into the system right then as a young kid. It's like, and it's time to break out of that. Like, it's time to make something different, And
then we have that association with a good time.
Birthday, we need to do this.
But even Phil, if you bring it bigger than just a birthday, it's a good time. So now, if people want a good time, they go and eat that kind of food, and that for lots of people now, that's weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Because they it's like when I was a kid, we were quite strapped for cash when I was a kid, and so for me, we go to my grandparents, and for a treat we'd have fish and chips.
Mhm.
So of course for me that was having a
Right.
really good time was fish and chips or an ice cream. You know, man, we go to the seaside like once a year. We go to the seaside and we'd have ice cream. So then, so what we then do emotionally is we associate that ice cream with the seaside.
Mhm.
So actually, the seaside gave us the feeling,
Yeah.
but we've
Mhm.
associated the ice cream with the feeling of the seaside.
But it's, yeah, it's like it's standing on the sand, hearing the sound of the waves, the smell of the fresh salt ionized water, air,
Yeah, yeah,
doing something with family. All of those things are the real treat. But
yeah,
yeah, we associate in our brain, oh, we go and do that and we get ice cream. It's
yeah.
like, wow.
So let's bypass all of that and just have the ice cream. So yeah, it's interesting stuff, isn't it? So going on to ice cream now. A friend of mine said something really interesting. That there was some statistics, and he was relating this to health, right? So the statistic with the ice cream was in the season, in the ice cream season, burglaries go up. Did you know that, Phil?
Burglaries go up?
Yeah.
Wow.
So on the surface, in ice cream season, burglaries go up. So it's ice cream's fault, right? Well, clearly not, because just because you're eating ice cream doesn't mean someone's going to burgle your house.
Right.
But superficially, and this is like health.
Mhm.
So he was saying to me, so think about it, Phil. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, think about it. What's the weather like in ice cream season? It's hot.
Hot? Yeah.
So what do people do more in ice cream season? They leave the windows open. They leave their doors open.
Mhm.
They pop down the shop to get ice cream with their windows open. So while they pop down the shop to get ice cream, someone's popped in the window and helped themselves to the ice cream in the fridge, right? So superficially, it's the ice cream's fault. But when you look deeper in, and I think he was talking about cholesterol
Mhm.
at the time, but we look at it superficially. We look at everything superficially. So we've got a headache. We haven't got a bloody aspirin deficiency, have we?
Nope.
We haven't got an aspirin deficiency. So why do you want an aspirin? So we're just busy looking at everything superficially. So the next time, guys, don't blame the ice cream.
Right.
Look at what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
really like that message of looking deeper, and it's hard because we've been programmed not. We've been programmed to, and we see like a lot of the chaos in the world right now. We've been trained to look for something outside of ourselves and blame that, whether we're blaming the president or the prime minister or the virus or the racial event or we're blaming all these things outside of ourselves. It's like it's the ice cream. It's and it's like okay, maybe it's time to look within, meditate, slow down, go into nature, tune in, listen to the messages, listen to those signs that you get in signs every day. Look what's around you.
yeah, absolutely. Look for the. I think the other thing we've got to retrain ourselves is look for the beauty,
Look for the good.
look for the positive, look for the flowers. There's always flowers somewhere. There's always flowers. So that's what we have to do is look for the positive, look for the flowers, look for the gifts, because there's always gifts around us. The gratitude is abundant, or things to have gratitude for are abundant.
Right.
It's just getting that little mind shift, isn't it? So we can actually see the good things.
Right. It's coming right back into the moment, and yeah. So we're also trained. And there's like many things like, oh, when you do this, then you'll get that, and it's like, we're all trying to come back into the moment and appreciate the moment. And it's like, but no, I need to finish this. Or when I get this job done, or when then I'll do this. It's like this continual. It's like, well, right now, this is a beautiful moment right now, Phil. Wow, I'm
I'm
just
a,
thinking of this right now. This is just beautiful.
I'm a classic for that. Kay will say to me, blah, 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 I'll just finish this. Because, you know, I'm clearly in the middle of something, but actually, maybe because I'm in the middle of something, I've missed something beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's I definitely recognize that one. I'll be there in a minute. Oh, you've missed it. Oh. Because quite often those things, like you say, it's only that moment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There isn't, and you can't replicate that moment if it was the moment. Yeah.
It's good. I think our show is maybe coming to an end right now. It's just like a
Do you want to do a little
yeah, do a little gonging.
yeah, shall I get the drum and do a gentle
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
join you in that then, Phil?
Yeah.
That's a bit better tonight, Phil.
So tuning into your breath right now, slowing it down. Maybe place your hand upon your heart. Breathe in. Just allow the breath to inhale through the nose. Notice it all the way in. Exhale through the nose. Just focus on slowing it down. And tuning into that heart space, sending deep roots, energetic roots down into the earth, pulling up the earth energies, expanding out into the universe, pulling down the star energies, the moon, the sun, spiraling down in a vortex down into the heart space. And then noticing that beautiful spark within, that spark of the divine, that spark of love. Expanding that spark of love out into your whole body, into your lymphatic system, your blood system, all your organs. Just imagine the little smile upon your face. Raise the corners of your eyes, the corners of your mouth, a little smile, secret smile. Filling your whole body with that love, with the sound, that magic that's within you right now. Expanding that field out around your body. Sending that love to your family, your community, your city, your country, your village. Whether it's bright, beautiful light, bright white light, bright blue light maybe. However you see it, smiling faces, sending that love around the earth. So much love. Sending peace to the earth right now in its time of turmoil through our energy, through our inspiration, through our leadership, through our love. and create a resonance and a field that changes this earth. Slowing the breath down, coming into the body. Knowing that you are beautiful, you are divine, you are gorgeous, you're a hard worker, you have grit and determination in you. You know what to do. The miracles and the magic and the signs are around you. Look to nature. Look to the teachers around you. Trust that inner wisdom. As we spiral back into this body, bringing that love with you for the rest of the day or the evening. May this week be filled with joy and peace and love. Aho.
Oh.
All right. Great.
My favourite bit of the show, Phil.
Aw. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us again.
Thank you. Have a
Love
great
you.
week.
Yep. I'm going to stop the live stream.